Today on CityCast Denver, it was a messy week here in the Mile High with the first city layoffs in more than 15 years, putting the mayor to one of his biggest tests yet. So we're digging into the drama and all the other news of the week, from the local TV merger to the emu on the loose in Lakewood. Today is Friday, August 22nd. I'm Paul Caroli, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome back to CityCast Denver, the show about the city where Aurora police are looking for someone who has been shooting rabbits with a quote blow dart or blow dart style weapon. And I just want to say, you'll never catch me and my best friend, the Predator. We are coming to you from the beautiful Dude IDK studios in 5 Points. I have two great guests with me this week. Our politics and green chili correspondent is back. Hey, Justine Sandoval, what's up?
Hello.
Justine, I have to know, are you watching South Park?
Of course. I
thought you might be. We got to talk about it. I love it.
The worst part of it is that I had to get Paramount Plus to watch it.
Yes.
I was like, this is
ass.
so insane, but here I go.
I know, it's the worst. I keep telling my wife, and she is fully officially done with this, but I'm like, what would Cartman say about this? Cartman's so funny. I love that guy.
It's so good. They really are geniuses. Matt and Trey. I'm like, this is just so good. It's so smart. They're just very smart. It's very smart, all of it.
I think there's an episode that, it's probably out right now on Paramount Plus for people listening to us now. Sorry, I'm getting time turned around, but that's about like the crackdown in DC and the police and stuff. And
I watched it I watched it this week, and they just like, it's just all of these things that are very like, well, it's real time, right? They do the show in like 1 week. So all of the scenes were just like DC being occupied everywhere. They're like, the Capitol. There's just like soldiers everywhere. They're like, Lincoln, soldiers everywhere.
Terrific. So good. And joining us is another returning guest, one of the best. She reports on City Hall for the Denver Post. Welcome back, Elliot Wensler.
Hi. Hello. Thanks for having me back.
Hey. Elliot, summer's almost over.
That's a terrible thing for you to say.
How's it hitting you? Are you okay?
I'm okay. I love the seasons, so I'm all right. I'm like starting to think about Aspens. I'm starting to think about skiing. I'm starting to think about how every time I step outside right now, I feel like I'm being breathed on by a dog, and how I'm kind of ready for that to be
oh, God,
over.
It's supposed to hit 100 degrees today.
Yeah, I know, and I'm wearing long sleeves and pants.
Well, if you want to squeeze one last drop out of the summer, there's a great way to do it with us at CityCast Denver. One of our member-exclusive meetups is coming up soon. I'm not going to say exactly when, because you have to sign up to become a member to figure out the details. We'll send you an email about it and stuff. But that's just one perk of joining our membership program. It's a great deal. You know you're supporting us, support local journalism, more important than ever. We all saw the news about this TV merger this week, all the uncertainty, maybe journalists losing their jobs. I don't know. This is a way that you can help right now. Please pitch in. Honestly, Tonight News and everyone support all journalism. It's important. Membership.citycast.fm is the place to sign up. Did I say the venue? Oh, the venue is so good. Have you all been to the Schoolyard Beer Garden?
Not yet. I'm so excited to go.
You're coming to the meet.
I'm coming. I will be there.
Meet Justine at the meetup. It's so good. It's the Schoolyard Beer Garden. I love this place. I can't wait.
Where is it?
It's in the Golden Triangle in the old Evans School. That giant building, and then they turn the whole lawn into this beer garden. It's beautiful.
Sweet.
Okay, let's get to our top story. The biggest story of the week this week was layoffs. City employees were calling it the purge, and maybe we'll see soon what happens when we get to the sequel, The Purge Election Day. The implications are abound. But layoffs, of course, were from the city itself. This is the first time the city's laid off many workers in 15 years. 171 people reportedly lost their jobs, and hundreds of open positions were eliminated. We've been talking about it all week, but now we know more, and more and more people are getting angry about it. It's been really messy, a lot of hurt feelings. Justine, big picture, what's your takeaway from this whole event?
It's really hard as a lifelong Denverite. Like, Denver city jobs are very coveted And there are people who have like long careers there, very devoted to all of the departments that make our city run. And on Monday, 171 people lost their jobs. The potential for people to be hired by the city is gone. And that's not just the aftermath. Like, yes, 171 people left jobless Monday morning, but now the morale is so low. People are not feeling great about working in an environment where they felt like a city job is secure. Now they feel expendable. There's a lot of questions on budget stuff. And not only the employees that like survived, I know employees are actively looking for jobs to get out because they don't feel secure in that position. So I've really seen the ripple effect this week, just, from friends and family members and just people that I know who were struggling, who already were having the anxiety of knowing whether or not they lost their job, to now feeling expendable. And then, now we have that aftermath of just morale being low, and we're going to see a lot of ripple effect from this.
Yeah, I think the uncertainty in the aftermath is a huge piece. I mean, it's probably why the mayor yesterday made very clear no more layoffs this year. But we know that he doesn't know what's coming. He doesn't know what the economy holds in the next 6 months. No one does. And the layoffs they said $100 million was the savings, and that's not even enough to cover the shortfall that we know exists, this $250 million. So, Elliot, what else did you hear from the mayor yesterday? You were at the media roundtable he held, right?
I was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest messages he was trying to get across is no more layoffs, caveat this year, caveat as long as the economy doesn't tank further.
So in the next 4 months.
So, right.
Yeah.
And so I think he is trying to like add some solidity to how folks are feeling right now so that they can like somehow return back to work. He also, a big thing that came yesterday was sort of the department by department breakdown, which was the thing that I was kind of most interested in as I've been following this, is which departments relative to their own size were hit the hardest. And so he pulled up a chart that showed like Office of Children's Affairs took like the biggest hit relative to the size, because that's not like a huge department. Like Dottie had, I think, the most actual layoffs. But it's such a big department that it's not, as big of a hit. The Office of Children's Affairs lost like nearly 40% of its workforce between vacancies and layoffs.
So what does that mean to you? Does that mean the mayor doesn't think that office is important?
I don't think that's necessarily what it means. I mean, something I've come to realize in covering the city is everything is a matter of priorities, and everything in the budget it's a matter of priorities. You can very, look at what's happening, and that tells us what the priorities are. And so I think, one way that he explained it is he said that was a department that had more vacant or didn't have as many vacancies. So other departments one way that they've been dealing with this is like, let's just hold positions open. Like they've been doing that for months now, in some cases even longer than that, and like building up these vacancies. So some departments that happened to have like people leave didn't have to have as many layoffs because they already had those vacant positions that they could just eliminate. But the Office of Children's Affairs kind of had some of both. So, I mean, I think that he thinks they can do the necessary parts of that department still and just kind of boil it down to the core parts of what they're trying to accomplish through that department, which I think they boiled down to like 3 things, which was like after school care, violence prevention, and one other that I don't remember right now. But
wow. So it's just like, I mean, these things are all relative terms too. Like what is core? What is essential for the government to do? Everyone's got an opinion about this, and hence the priorities. So
which like he has talked a lot about, like trash pickup, recreation centers, like those are things, those public facing services are things that he's talked about like really trying to maintain. And then of course, like his homelessness program, he sees that as being one of the main ways out of this budget crunch, is like making people feel safer downtown so that they will come and spend money. Yeah. Like that's something he's talked about a lot. So he's protected that department did still get cuts, but
it's been
protected more than Office of Children's Affairs. And like also police and fire had 0 layoffs.
We got to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's meaningful.
They did have vacancies that were eliminated. So the departments are still shrinking somewhat, but less than 2% each. So.
That's interesting for police, though, because police, I understand. Police is like, he made a pledge when he was campaigning. He was like, we're going to hire back up to the full authorized force. I think it was 1,600 officers. And so for them not to have layoffs, that makes sense. Fire, different story. I mean, longtime listeners know that I've been interested in the fire department budget for a while. But what did you make of those exceptions, Justine? What do you think the story is there?
It's I have all kinds of Denver bias for living here. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, why is there 10 cops for this one situation? And, so personally, I feel like that's a whole other conversation of how we restructure public safety and how we should be investing in those. I don't necessarily think more police officers make us safer. I think better trained officers are better for us, and having less is actually a better outcome. So, I don't know. I was not surprised because the mayor had talked a lot about public safety, and there had been a conversation a long time about us not having enough police on the police force. So the fact that they didn't cut was not a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, politically, that's just the way the winds are blowing right now. No way is he cutting cops. No way. And then also the other factor, unions.
Oh, I thought about the union side too.
Fire and police unions.
Absolutely.
City employees, we voted for them. We authorized. They can form one, and I think they're going to, but
not till January.
Not till January. That's a good example, though, too, of the power of the union, because our police and firefighters have had union strength for a long time. So now city employees, are on this journey to unionize, and you can see the difference between unionized employees and non-unionized employees.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so, I mean, we talked about some of the blowback earlier this week. I had at-large Councilwoman Sarah Parody on to talk about, I think we discussed Scott Gilmore, husband of Councilwoman Stacey Gilmore, who has been going off this week on the mayor. She was not his biggest fan before. It's definitely taken to a new level this week. Her husband in the Parks and Rec department laid off. But the one I want to talk about is Paul Lopez, clerk and recorder Paul Lopez. This was interesting to me. He had a post on, I think it was Facebook, I don't know what platform, but he said, "What happened yesterday was a betrayal to hundreds of city workers who have kept the city afloat during some of the most difficult circumstances. I also want to make something clear. Mayor Mike Johnston's budget crisis is a result of his mishandling of the city budget, not from a recession or from migrants seeking freedom. It is not leadership during tough times. It is cowardice." Elliot, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I saw that post and I immediately called Paul Lopez. I was like, tell me more.
What did he say?
Well, more to come. But he basically reiterated what was in his statement there. He said he felt like, I asked him, one thing that he said there was he thought that the layoffs were targeted. And so I was kind of asking for like, can you give me specific examples and tell me more, like other than the ones that have already been out there, and like tell me more about what you mean that all of these budget decisions were his fault. And I think, what I heard from him is he felt like as an elected official, he needed to come out and say these statements from things that he was hearing from people. And he didn't really feel at liberty to to call people out who had been laid off necessarily.
That's where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
If you're going to talk about targeting, no one wants to talk about specifics, because then you're being like, well, so-and-so wasn't good at their job.
Right. But of course, that's my job, is to figure out well, if this is something for me to dig into, I need to know. So it seems like it was sort of like, here are things that I've been hearing. I think that there's more going on there. I think that those two parties have had some beef building for some time. And that has to do with the budget a lot, like the clerk and recorder's budget.
Well, Mr. Lopez wanted, for his department, he wanted this voting center included in the mayor's Vibrant Denver bond, and it was not included.
Correct.
And that was the last time he was in headlines. So
yep. Yes.
A little bit of tension. Interesting.
Yeah. And I think there will be more headlines going forward.
Interesting. Well, Paul Lopez himself once a rumored mayoral candidate. Maybe we'll be talking about him more in the next couple of years. It's almost time to start having that conversation. Maybe we'll start.
Mayor of Denver sounds like the worst job ever.
You think?
Oh, no, I'd never be the mayor of Denver, ever. That would be not anything I'd want to be all.
Mr. Johnston's getting a lot of flack right now. This has been a rough week for him.
You could be a great person, everyone likes you, and then you become mayor of Denver, and you are the number one target for everything wrong in the city, from your trash pickup to any little thing. So
Colfax construction.
Colfax, and it's like running a business in a way. Like, so, you have to really break it down. Like, was there budget mismanagement? All of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I don't know. That sounds like the worst job ever.
Do you think that it's too much, the criticism, or do you think it's fair? Or the stuff about the targeting specifically, I think, is interesting.
I'm watching my words as someone who complains constantly in Denver. One of the reasons why I wouldn't want to work for the city or be the mayor is because I like to complain about everything wrong in Denver all the time. I'm gonna be like, where's the dumpsters? I want the dumpsters back. Which is a Paul Lopez thing. He wanted the dumpsters back too.
Was that him? Okay.
Yeah. Or did he get rid of the dumpsters? I don't know. The dumpsters were like a saga forever. But I think that the criticism is always like harsh and sometimes over the top, because I think a lot of people don't understand like where certain government services come from. So, who do you point at? The mayor. Like, the mayor is going to be your number one target. So anything that's wrong, it's on them. And it's kind of like a lose-lose no matter what.
It's such a test of leadership, because he, like you were saying, Elliot, like he really is in this moment where he needs to like inspire people to like love the city and believe in the city again. He was talking about this in his speech, like how we need to change our attitudes about the city to actually move forward and improve the economy. It's about our feelings about it as much as it is like anything else. So I don't know. How do you feel about the test of leadership that he's gone through this week, Elliot? Do you think he's come out of it well? You think he's handled it well?
He's a really, really positive guy.
Yes.
And this is one of the first weeks that I think I've seen that it's difficult to keep up that constant positivity in the face of people losing their jobs. And so I think that he's had to kind of balance that, like, everything's bright and shiny and wonderful with the reality that like people are going home and saying, how am I going to pay for this? How are we going to move forward with our family?
Yeah.
So, he said this is the hardest leadership challenge that he's had so far. And I believe him. Like, this does seem extremely challenging. Do I think that he's come out of it okay? I think time will tell. In my mind, there is just this like growing list of important moments in his administration that are all going to accumulate to like what happens when he runs for re-election, to your earlier point of like, is it time to start talking about that again?
What are people going to remember? They're going to remember the congressional hearing. They're going to remember the homelessness stuff, which is like
they're going to remember the housing
downtown.
Housing ballot issue. They're going to remember the layoffs. What are they going to remember about the layoffs though? Like, I think that we still kind of have to find out if, I don't know, people seem pretty upset, you know, obviously people seem angry. The fact that other elected officials are coming out, they're not like all rallying behind him. I'm actually not hearing a lot of other elected officials rallying behind him at all. Like, you're not really seeing a lot of other people pop up and say like, well, hey guys, the city's doing the best they can. I think a lot of people think that, but no, there's not really so much coming out and really trying to like stand behind this choice, even if it was necessary.
That's an interesting insight. I agree. I haven't heard that either.
Yeah, and you would think that maybe folks would.
Yeah. Well. The question of like the impact on the individuals versus the priorities, seeing all of it at once, like how do you handle that? How do you talk about that? This was a challenge you faced this week, Elliot. And one of the biggest critics of the mayor, she's been on the podcast before, Lisa Calderon. She is organizing some of these laid off workers for potential lawsuits. I think if anyone out there is listening and wants to get involved, maybe I'll put a link in the show notes. I think there's her and some other council members are doing like a webinar, but she tweeted at Denver Post, and I want to ask you to respond to this. She tweeted at Denver Post, "What's up with the neutralized headlines that hide the suffering of 171 workers and their families? This was never about the budget or merit. It's about mismanagement and abuse of power. The bias for your endorsed candidate is showing. Stop treating him like a savior."
Huh. Well, I for those who maybe can see the video, I kind of made a little bit of a face because I'm like, I just know that as the person who wrote that, I am not dehumanizing those people. I've thought a lot about, like, even though The 171 number, which by the way, it was actually 169, quick amendment.
I was going to ask about
Yeah.
that because the Gazette had 169.
It's actually 169.
Okay, well, good.
And that's actually a lot fewer than what a lot of people thought it was going to be. Like, people thought it was going to be thousands, but I have not even once thought to myself like, oh, well, then no big deal. And as I've been writing about it, I haven't thought that. I haven't framed my questions that way. It's 169 people. That's still a lot of people who don't have a job anymore. And that means a lot for those individuals. It means a lot for the people who are left behind. It means a lot for the residents of Denver. So I don't know. I just don't really. I did not see that tweet. I must not be on Twitter nearly enough. I'm always saying that these days.
I think you're fine. I think it's okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm happy with my Twitter consumption. But yeah, you know, our editorial board is like a totally separate part of our newsroom. So, and I also feel if you asked the mayor, I think he would say Elliot Wenzler is one of the most annoying reporters in the press corps. He probably wouldn't say that, but I have been really annoying. I've been really like holding their feet to the fire on the details here and the questions of how they made these decisions. So that doesn't really bother me. I guess she can have her opinion, but headlines are also really tricky.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know what they should be. Like, I don't know what the rewrite would be.
I say abolish headlines.
Abolish headlines.
Make reading the article mandatory. No more headlines.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't love them either, but I think they're necessary to like get people to read.
Yeah.
The new headlines could be important. Read this, :
Yeah, that would just
I better read this.
That would be every headline. We think everything we write is so important.
Well, maybe we could have them ranked for us. You know, the newspaper could be this one first, and then this one.
The most important things of the day.
Okay. One more like specific thing that I do want to talk about in the context of this conversation is one thing I've really tried to make clear in every story, and I even wrote an entire story dedicated to this, is about like the part of this that could have come from mismanagement. And so the deep dive story that I did was like, this is from a combination of factors. One of those factors is that, and this is a little bit nerdy and a little bit, financy, so stay with me, but spending down the reserve fund is a big part of what happened here. So that's like the city's piggy bank is supposed to stay at 15%. 15% of expenditures every year. And it is now floated down to closer to 10%. And that float down started in Mayor Johnston's administration. So I've printed that in every story that I possibly can to make really clear. I've asked about it. I did a dedicated story talking about it.
That's interesting. You're dipping into the piggy bank.
Dipping into the piggy bank, which is like people do that, and it's a policy choice, but it is one of the choices that led us to where we are now.
Yeah. The other thing that I've been thinking about this week is the voters chose him because he had a big ambitious goal of ending unsheltered homelessness in his first term. That was the point. And we knew it was going to be expensive. And to speak to your point about priorities, like, I feel like at a certain point, this is what we were signing up for as a voting, as a city. So, Justine, I don't know, back to the politics. What do you think? Does this hurt his chances? Is he going to win the re-election?
It's funny because I remember the other Mike. There's lots of Mikes in politics. Michael Hancock, who was a mayor that was deeply unpopular after a term or two, who still continued to win. So I'm not going to count Mike Johnston out. And you're right, we did ask for this. And that's one thing that we have to think about moving forward as a society, is to solve like these big issues we want to solve. It does cost money. And so how are we prioritizing when we're passing all of these bonds and all of this money that comes into the city? How is that actually going to help people directly? And what that looks like. So I think there's going to be a case for the mayor to make in the next few years that, we're going to survive this. We had to spend money to do better, all of these things. So I wouldn't count him out just from the past and knowing that Denverites are forgiving and forgetful sometimes about things, and we'll continue to move forward with the plan. So.
And he's got a lot of time between now and the next election to make up for this. So, like, is this going to be a blip or is this going to be defining? I think kind of depends on what happens next. Yeah. Depends on how excited people get about the soccer stadium, what happens with the bond, what happens with National Western, all of those, like, kind of big ticket, flashy items that can get people really excited, I think. And, yeah, he knows that, too.
Your point about making things costing a ton of money, Justine, I've been thinking about immigration in those terms too. Like everyone says, fix the broken system, deport the criminals. It's like, I feel like that's going to cost a ton. Like the immigration judges that need to hear the cases. So there isn't a backlog that's 18 months long. Like, where's the money for more judges? Where's the money for more people to handle these cases, more lawyers, more everything? Anyway, that's
we have money. Topic. We're not broke. Everyone's just spending their money in the wrong places. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, let us know what you think. We want to hear from you. 720-500-5418. If you are one of these workers who has been laid off, we'd love to hear your story, or if you've been affected by it, if you have strong opinions about it. 720-500-5418. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back with something else. This episode is brought to you by Denver Health. Join Denver Health for an exclusive exhibit, Stories in Black and White. This powerful display shares real stories of people affected by the opioid crisis and overdose epidemic. Stories of hope, struggle, loss, healing, courage, and change. Because the truth is, substance use disorders don't discriminate. They touch people from every walk of life. And by listening, we can reduce stigma and open the door to support. Okay, so I'm looking at their site. I'm seeing some examples of these stories. These look like really personal, serious stories of people that overcame some really hard challenges. Yeah, this person, Kitty, thanks to Denver Health, I'm now in recovery. And for the first time in a long time, I feel hope. The crippling hopelessness that came with my addiction is no longer part of my daily life. Wow. You can experience the exhibit for yourself on Monday, September 1st at Civic Center Park, or Thursday, September 4th at the Central Public Library. For full details, visit denverhealth.org/blackandwhite. This episode is brought to you by the Arvada Center. And Olivia, I gotta tell you, I've been looking forward to this one because I love the way they write their copy like it's a trailer for a movie. In a world, 7 strangers, 1 remote country house, a snowstorm, and then somebody turns up dead. The Mousetrap, a really great play that you should see, and it's very cool that the Arvada Center is doing it. I've seen it a couple of times. I loved it both times. And they're doing it September 5th through October 12th at the Arvada Center. The Arvada Center produces award-winning theater right here in our community, featuring Colorado actors, directors, and designers. See this iconic and Paul-approved murder mystery play right in your backyard at the Arvada Center. See for yourself why Agatha Christie's ingenious detective story is the longest-running play in the world. Is that actually true? What about Shakespeare? The Mousetrap play, Wikipedia.com. It ran from 1952 on London's West End until the March 16th, 2020, and then it had to stop because of the pandemic. That's like, how many years is that? That's so long. Good for them. The tickets are available now at arvadacenter.org. And we're back. Our hot topic this week, why Denver sucks. So many reasons, but also, are they right? This is kind of coming to us from this article that big football fans like me I'll look forward to every year. I became one a couple years ago. It's this annual preseason tradition. There's a writer named Drew Magary. He writes for Defector, and he writes one for each NFL team, and he just says why they suck. And it's for like fans of rival teams, because it's just satisfying hearing someone roast their team. But in his article that came out about the Broncos this week, there was a whole paragraph about Denver itself. And I thought it was a really funny take. And I thought we might talk about it. So I'll just start reading through some of these lines, and maybe we'll go one by one. And if you all have anything to add, we can. Okay, here we are. Drew Magary for Defector on why Denver sucks. Denver has been a city everyone wants to move to for long enough that it's now chock full of just as many rude and status-obsessed people as L.A.
Oh my God, not true.
You think?
Have y'all been to LA?
Yeah, no, I think that's, I don't get that one at all.
I disagree so much. I think people in Denver are so much happier than people in LA.
Yeah.
Like, actually, it's not like fake. It's like they're going to the mountains and they've got a lot of endorphins. They just got really scared and they're just happy to be alive.
We all almost died last weekend.
Yeah, pretty much every weekend. Look, I got scrapes on me from literally last weekend.
Like, yeah, the perspective problem is not. Although the flip side of that is, if anything, I have the opposite issue as Drew here, which is like a little bit more status obsession might be nice.
Yeah. Also, if you go to dinner in a fancy restaurant, people like the nicest things people are wearing is Arc'teryx. Like that's the fancy clothing. No one's like, looks nice.
Well, that's a whole conversation online right now too about like Denver. Nobody dresses up in Denver. Yeah.
I think there should be like some places where people dress up because I got cute clothes and I want to wear them places.
Yeah, I think that's a myth because I have places I wear my cute clothes and go have a $15 cocktail and take pictures.
Oh, share.
Yeah.
Where are these places?
Well, we had talked about some of them, but I can't remember the name of it. But I went to a place on 16th Street Mall a few weeks ago, which was the first time I saw the news.
Wait, where? Sorry, where? What are you talking about?
A restaurant I went to have a cocktail in the mall, and I can't remember the name of it.
Where is it?
It's on 16th
Yeah, I haven't heard of that.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not familiar.
It's on the 16th Street.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Possibly.
There was a place on 16th Street. Yeah.
The 16th Street bar I was at. Lovely. Got to dress up and have fancy cocktails and people watch and
What's that place in the Oxford Hotel? That old bar? I forget the name of it.
Oh, the cruise room.
Yes.
Love the cruise room.
That's a great spot.
Love to dress up and go to the cruise room. There's places to dress up. There's things to do. I also like the casual side of Colorado. In politics, it's a big thing too. We have like the blue jean Democrats and stuff. And it's very much like, we're politicking, but we're comfy.
Yeah.
So I like it.
We're authentic.
Yeah.
The authenticity.
Well, and it's funny because there is like a level of like people have moved here who are like status obsessed, and those are like the Patagonia or like the name brand, whatever. But then they're like the OG, like Colorado people, and we're wearing like Costco flannels and stuff.
Maybe it's a different status that we're obsessed with.
I think so.
Like Drew's talking about this LA
gosh.
like Hollywood thing. We're obsessed with like I'm the most relaxed.
Yeah.
My mental
I'm the most
health
relaxed,
is the best.
And I've done the scariest stuff.
Yeah.
Like the relativity for outdoor adventure things. Like some people are like, whoa, I did a hike and it was like really scary. And then some people are like, well, I was on a knife's edge with 2,000 feet of drop. Like, what about that?
All right, let's move on. I mean, I liked that take a lot. Okay. But Drew goes on, but instead of influencers or actors, they all just work in marketing, was the second part of this take about status obsession, which...
I don't work in marketing.
Yeah.
No. Not marketing.
I mean, I know some people, but...
Sales, and I don't even know what that means, guys. I was like, I'm in sales.
Palantir. A lot of people work for Palantir.
I was just reading that
true. That's a company I've heard a lot about recently. Okay, Drew goes on. Every cool new restaurant is an 80,000 square foot food hall with a carbon footprint bigger than an OpenAI data center.
I love that.
All right, that's really funny. There are a lot of food halls.
It's the thing. That's something. And also our restaurants are very big. We have a lot of very big restaurants. That was something I thought when I moved here from DC was like, there's so much more space for these restaurants. They're just huge. Is that something either of you have ever thought about ever in one time?
No, I go to Chubby's and it was like literally a shack that you walked up to for years.
Chubby's tiny. El Taco de Mexico, same tiny. Carbon footprint bigger than an OpenAI data center. Oh, it's so good. Drew says the beer gets worse every year. I feel like that's kind of true, actually.
You know what? Yeah. I see some crazy beers on the menu when I go in.
They're crazy. Also, the breweries are closing.
I feel like taste also changes so much. That's such a subjective one. Like, I'm enjoying beer still.
Yeah? What are your... I feel like
But I don't know if I have, like, enough of a refined palate, but, like, I've been drinking beer in Denver for 6 years, and I don't know. I think taste changes. So, like, if people are taking more chances, then I'm not opposed.
I think you're right. Taste changes. And I think specifically right now, people are just drinking less. I keep talking to friends who are like, I'm done with alcohol. It didn't make me feel good. I'm sick of lying about it.
Totally.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe the beer
Maybe
gets
beer
worse,
should get worse.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Here's a good one from Drew. The downtown still smells like cow farts. The airport is still spiritually located in Kansas, and Broncos fans are still so entitled that they may as well be cheering for an SEC team.
SEC,
which is the college football conference.
Oh, I know.
In the South, yeah. For listeners,
as the resident SEC fan. I went to an SEC school, so.
Okay. What about downtown still smells like cow farts?
No,
Sometimes.
no lies detected.
Yeah,
sometimes it does. That actually does suck.
Yeah.
Denver
Cow
stinks.
farts or dog food or whatever the South Platte has got cooking these days.
I know all of the smells. I can tell you what it is for the day.
What's the one that's like the absolute worst one that happens? Like it only happens like every other month, and it's like mostly hits Rhino.
Oh, so it's the Platte River. I feel like the Platte like bakes and you can smell it. And it smells like algae. Like my whole house smelled. I thought the dog stunk because she was letting her swim, but it was actually just the air.
The river.
Yeah, it was just the river. And then the other one that I have by my house is the porta potty place, and you could smell when they rinse them out.
Oh,
it smells like
yuck.
Yeah.
Yuck.
You know, like porta potty.
There's one smell I remember. I was living downtown for a minute, and by the Whole Foods, if you walk down, I think it's Chestnut maybe, but there's like a vent coming out of the Whole Foods kitchen, and you can smell whatever they're cooking that day. Sometimes it's nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's gross.
One time a friend came into my house and he was like, what are you cooking? I was like, that's the Purina factory meat smell.
Oh, God.
Broncos fans entitled? Justine, this seems like one for you.
I mean, what do you mean by entitled? Entitled to think we're going to do well every year and lose? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my uncle Carlitos predicts that the Broncos will be undefeated every single year. So, yeah.
This year could be the year.
Carlitos, I know he's going to have his prediction again, undefeated.
Okay, so Broncos fans so entitled they may as well be cheering for an SEC team. Lord knows they all own enough firearms to qualify. Maybe rural Colorado.
Where are the facts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the last thing is just a very football specific reference. I don't know. I mean, I wish nothing good for the Broncos, and I hope Peyton, the coach, has a heart attack so big that it has a visible blast radius. Which is just sort of in the context of the article, that's more.
Seems mean.
Yeah, it's a little mean.
Well, seems a little mean-spirited.
It's a funny article. I recommend the article. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do y'all think? Do you have any? How are you feeling about Denver generally? Are we feeling good about this? Is Denver doing good? Sucking vibes? Good? Yes. Justine?
Like football-wise?
I don't know. The city.
Overall.
How did you feel about this take? These roasts?
I thought it was hilarious. Some of it was like too real. The comments were my favorite part. There was one comment, I forgot exactly what he said, but he talked about like when we lost the Super Bowl to Seattle, and I had like flashbacks because I was in Vegas. It was like one of the worst nights of my life. We lost, but at the end he's like, so since he threw a big party and everyone came and the Broncos sucked it up, and he was so embarrassed, since then he only watches alone because no one should see it. And I was like, yeah, I felt that way. Even though we won Super Bowl 50 after that, it was still like, what was to come? I used to be a big football fan, like gambling, like freaking playing fantasy football. I had Red Zone, everything.
Holy cow.
But the NFL, just like after the pandemic and everything, and seeing how much money they make and how much BS really goes into it. And the Broncos too. Elway supporting Trump for me was annoying. All of those things. It really kind of stopped me from being like a super fan as much. I'm a Broncos fan for life because I'm a Denver girl. My grandpa's bar is like a Broncos bar. Like we love the Broncos. It's part of the culture. But like the NFL.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked a lot about Burnham Yard on here?
A little bit, yeah. Why? What are you thinking about?
I just think that's like an interesting development for Broncos fans. I will admit I do not follow the Broncos super closely, but man, am I following Burnham Yard super closely as a Denver Post reporter.
Yeah, for sure. So for listeners, this is the rumored, and there's been some reports of the Broncos buying up some land in this old rail yard that's on near Lincoln Park, and it's in this weird dead zone where it's hard to describe. It's not really a neighborhood. Side. Yeah, west side. It's around that Zuni power plant. Not so far from their current stadium, but they're talking about building a new stadium. And it's interesting because it kind of depends on how much the city like loves the team. Like if there are maybe some public subsidies. The mayor talked about this on our show. He said he would want to support the stadium staying. He would want a stadium to be built in Denver proper, and he'd be willing to put up money for like infrastructure to build around the stadium. So we'll see. I mean,
I think all of that is going to get a ton of scrutiny.
I think so too.
Yeah.
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 Well, sadly, one of the comments on this article we should talk about because it connects back to our first segment. Alex writes, can you publish the Broncos version of Why Your Team Sucks on August 18th? That's the day Denver is going to fire a couple hundred city employees so the city will have enough money to pay for a new stadium for the wealthiest ownership group in the NFL. Editor's note, wish granted. That's when they published it. Sad connection this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was saying of like, I think it's going to get a ton of scrutiny because of that exact reason. Like if the city is laying people off and having to reduce services, if there is even a whiff of helping subsidize the stadium itself. But maybe people will be more supportive of it, but there seems to be kind of a wave of folks wising up to the whole stadium across the country.
I think so too.
Situation.
But I wonder if the Broncos just have that much loyalty from fans here. People just love the team so much.
It's hard to, well, I remember 98, we voted for 97.
Yeah, that's true. It happened before.
Sales tax. Voted for it. I've debated in 8th grade class against it because I didn't think we should publicly fund it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I still continue to have the same position in the year 2025. But yeah, I think that this will definitely, it's changed a little too. Like Denver's changed a lot. And like, I think that we have a lot of people have moved from other states who aren't necessarily Bronco fans. They're just NFL fans, which are different. Because I know we had a reputation in the NFL for being like the most loyal fans for years because we would still sell out our stadium, still sell the most merchandise, all of these things, even though our team was losing, we would still show up. And I don't know if that's necessarily like with all of the new fans that came in, if they're like have that same Broncos devotion.
I wonder.
Yeah.
And the team is flipped over too. It's like it's a new coach, it's new owners, new everything.
I also wonder though, like if the fans themselves are super dedicated, sure, but how many people are like fans? Because like there are so many new people to the city who have allegiances elsewhere, or
and
who
we've
just
seen so
don't
much
care
displacement.
About football, yeah.
So are the fans really more people like these allegedly gun owners, outside the city, rural areas? I mean, Broncos Nation is big too. There's no NFL team close to us in the country.
Well, New Mexicans. Well, you're either a Raiders fan. Well, you're either a Broncos fan, a Raiders fan, or Cowboys fan.
What about Kansas City?
Well, it's Kansas City. I guess that's true. People like the Chiefs. I don't know. This is straining my football knowledge, so maybe this is time to move on. Justine, you said you had a couple of roasts for us.
Oh, I'm like, I want to roast Denver.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I said, Denver, traffic is slower than the Denver's offensive line. They call us the Mile High City because that's how high your disappointment will be when you get here and realize all the food sucks. These are just stuff. I'm just roasting. These are things I see online that people are saying, so I made my own roast.
Like I do see that one a lot.
But I see that people always saying that.
Always the food sucks.
Okay. You paid $3,000 a month to live in an apartment the size of the Subaru you had to buy when you moved here.
True.
Denver's weather is as fickle as the men in the dating scene. And the last
double roast.
Yeah. And one of the most expensive and educated cities in the U.S., but we can't afford to not lay off our city employees.
Sad one.
Sorry,
everyone.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the roast, Justine. We're going to take one more break and then we'll be back with wins and fails.
It's time to go over to our CityCast Denver neighbor and sponsor of this week's episode, Elizabeth Martinez with Porchlight Real Estate Group, for our weekly segment, Navigating Denver Real Estate, to answer all of your Denver housing market questions.
This week's question is, what is an appraisal for? Do they look at the furnace and roof? That's a great question. An appraisal is done by a licensed appraiser to determine the fair market value of the home. Basically to make sure the price you're paying aligns with the recent comparable sales. They serve as a third party unrelated to the transaction that gives their professional opinion to your lender. It's primarily for the lender's protection since they don't want to lend more than the home is worth. If the appraisal comes in low, that is a whole other discussion. Now, appraisers are not inspectors. They'll notice obvious condition issues that might impact value specifically, like a damaged roof or major safety concerns, but they aren't checking systems like the furnace or doing a full inspection. That's why we still have a separate home inspection to dig into those details that matter to you, the new homeowner, but not so much to the lender. Think of it this way: the appraisal protects the bank's investment while the inspection protects yours.
This segment is sponsored by Elizabeth Martinez with Porchlight Real Estate Group. Have a question about Denver real estate? Use the link in the show notes to submit it. Elizabeth might answer your question in next week's segment.
All right, we're back. Last segment of the week. It's the way we always do it. I have a thing memorized that I say, and it's left my mind. Wins and fails. Rocky Mountain highs and lows. Each of us brought a recent local something that we think is a win and another we think is a fail, and we're going to talk about them. And we're going to start with fails because we always do. Elliot, what's your fail?
All right, you mentioned it at the top of the show, but we got to talk about the 9 News sale.
Okay. Tell us the details and let's get into it.
The details.
I wrote them down. I'll give them to you. Okay, Nexstar is with this big conglomerate, and then Tegna is the other one. And they each own like a bunch of TV affiliates across the country. And Nexstar is acquiring Tegna, or they've announced that their intention to acquire, it still has to be approved, in a $6.2 billion deal. And the reason why they are allowed to do this is because of some Trump policies that lift regulations on media, and how it works. So this could be a big change for us because these are the parent companies of Fox 31 and 9 News, two pretty important TV stations. People have been talking about this all week. What do you think, Elliot?
Yeah, and I think Kyle Clark in one of his segments talked about how the company has said one of their intentions is to make more efficient and like possibly make one newsroom rather than having two separate newsrooms, which is just like obviously a loss. Like we just cannot stand to lose any more journalism in Denver or anywhere. And 9 News is great. They do a lot of really great work. And it's frightening to think of Denver losing another news agency. Like, as one of the few reporters, I already feel stretched so thin, and I know that all of my colleagues feel stretched so thin. And just the more people that we can have paying attention to everything that we've talked about today, the better. So I really hope that we don't lose them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Fox 31 too. I mean, credit to them. I mean, 9 News, they're great online. You know, Kyle Clark, everyone loves Kyle Clark, myself included. He's an icon, a legend, the best in the city for sure. Fox 31 also great. That was the TV station that was on at the gym when I was living up in my in-laws' place, and they do a great job as well.
More reporters, more people asking questions. It's absolutely always a win for the city to have more people asking questions.
And the other thing is, like, since everyone, like, longtime Denverites, Justine, maybe you've felt this way at times, but lament the loss of the 2 newspaper town, you know, the Rocky Mountain News and the Denver Post. Used to be the big newsrooms, used to be like hundreds of journalists at each one. And that was it. There was no Twitter. There were no blogs. There were no newsletters. There was no, and then when those two, you know, started, the business models changed and the internet came along and the whole new media ecosystem fractured. I felt like, I mean, in some ways that's bad because I think there's fewer journalists, but in some ways it's great to have all these different perspectives. You know, people asking different types of questions from different newsrooms is really, really valuable to come at stories and find different things. So, I mean, the consolidation for that reason is also a little worrisome. Justine, what do you think about this?
No, yeah, I agree. You know, to me, I love our journalists in Denver and Colorado and across country. The work that they do makes the work that I do possible. I need this information. I need it accurate. And I've just seen the hit that our newsrooms have taken. And I just remember when the biggest controversy was who had the better layout, the Rocky Mountain News or the Post.
Right.
Everyone liked the Rocky Mountain better because it was
the broadsheet or something. I forget what you call it.
It was like, and that was the conversation. I mean, I like having more perspective, but like I said, you know, I've seen our journalists really suffer and our newsrooms take a hit, and so, you know, it's an uncertain future for a lot of our journalists, but I just hope that more perspectives are there and that we get out of like the cycle that we've been in for like a decade now of like making the media the enemy, and we go back to embracing like the value that our media provides us in like the information we need in our everyday society.
Yeah, I wonder. I think people don't I don't think there's a super, I mean, obviously people listening to this show get it, but I don't think there's a super wide understanding of what goes into writing an article like you do, Elliot, like how much effort and time it goes into fact checking and putting in only the things that people need to know that you can verify. And
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I have like a lot of people that I meet just in my personal life who will be like, so where do the stories come from? And like, what are the steps that you take? Like even just the most basic stuff, which I'm so happy to talk about and to answer and to let people know how much goes into it. It's basically like, do you want things to go well? Yes. Okay. Somebody has to pay really close attention. Do you want it to be you on top of your full-time job? Or do you want it to be someone whose job it is to pay really close attention, to ask a lot of questions, to ask why it's 169 instead of 171 on the layoffs? Like, that's what we do. Mm-hmm. And you can outsource that to us by supporting journalism.
Well, but that's the hard part is like people then if you even see the value, it's like making the decision to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because you always hear people online. I mean, you hear people in general being like, oh, the Denver Post. Yeah, I don't subscribe. Can you send me a gift article? Send me a PDF.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I think that I just try to tell people to like, what are your values? Use your money for your values. If your values are to understand what's happening in your city and to have it run well and have your tax dollars used responsibly.
Yeah, I mean, you can scroll on Twitter and try to make your own mind up. You know, you hear people say that
luck.
too. Like, I'm my own thinker. I'm my own mind. Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. Good luck. You're not even going to know if it's wrong. You're just going to. Oh well.
Oh well. It's just our democracy.
Yeah. I mean, I pay a guy $4 a month on Patreon to listen to him review Jersey Shore episodes. You could pay the Post $5 to read the news.
Yeah.
Justine, how about you? What's your fail?
So my fail of the week was that, well, the highlight was that our kids are going back to school, but the failure was that we had to shut down schools this week because it was too hot for our students. And one of the schools was my elementary school, Edison Elementary. Shout out Edison Eagles. But it's, to me, this falls into the bigger issue of course, climate change. We're getting hotter later into the year of the summer. And so our buildings are just not equipped. There is money. There was a bond passed. So there's going to be money put into installing air conditioners. But out of like the 29 schools, only 2 have had air conditioning installed so far.
Oh, really?
So that leaves about 27.
Like a year ago.
Yeah. So only 2 schools have gotten air conditioning. So unfortunately, 27 other schools in the Denver area were canceled this week for one day because of the heat. But that is my fail, compounded on another fail, which was a high ozone week. We have a lot of fires, and like if you were in the city this last week, it was brutal. My sinuses have been killing me. And then there was another report that came out that children now in the United States are sicker than they've ever been before. And it's the cause of pollution. So my low of the week is that we are not doing enough for our kids, and that the week that we were sending them back to school, we are still unprepared for our children, whether it comes to climate change, having comfortable environments, or protecting their health. And that's something that we need to really work on, because our kids are, their future is not looking great right now. So,
yeah. That's a good one. That was crazy. I was not expecting to see school canceled for heat. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No, and the first week that they went in, that school's canceled, which I'm sure there aren't too many kids that are completely crushed by a canceled day of school, but still, it's not great, that we're not ready for our students.
Speaking of the ozone, shout out to our sponsor, the Regional Air Quality Council. You can go to simplestepsbetterair.com, learn more about that. My fail this week, I was going to talk about Nexstar and Tegna, but there's another one that's like right up there. Flock, the license plate surveillance camera company we've been talking about on the show quite a bit. 9 News of the parent company Tegna, they reported this week that Flock seems to have been misleading us, this company, about what is happening with this data. For months, they said that immigration enforcement officers, so like ICE, Border Patrol, don't have access to local surveillance camera data. Colorado passed a law to prevent them from having access to this data. But now Flock says that that's actually not true. And there was a pilot program that allowed U.S. Customs and Border Protection access to the data because they were doing some operation about drug and human trafficking in Colorado, and they were looking at it. So what the heck?
When were they looking at it?
Over I think it was a few months long pilot program that they admitted.
In this year?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess some council members are pretty upset about that.
Yeah, I don't think that's the last thing we're going to hear about that. I think this flock conversation is going to continue.
They voted the contract down, but the cameras are still up, which I think was something that was lost by a lot of people. Like when council said we no longer want to have these in our city, it meant next year.
Yeah.
So like they are still there now.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I have wondered if council is going to bring it back and say you have to take them down before it's over. But I think they already paid for the services, so it's like a little bit tricky. But there's still months of
these
data.
Cameras snapping our license plates and tracking us. And
you can look online at where they are, FYI.
Oh, really? Oh, we'll put a link in the show notes. We should talk about that afterwards. Yeah. Let's move on to wins. Let's talk about some good stuff. I think I'd like to go first. I was going to save this for our guide to September, but I went to a new chain restaurant. It's new to me. It's not new. I think it's a couple years old. Have you ever been to Pliables on Broadway?
Yeah.
I love this place.
I've never been. I live right over there, but I've never been.
You got to check it out. It's like a smoothie bowl or like an acai bowl. They got all kinds of
acai bowl.
It's amazing.
Wow. Yay. I can't wait to check it out.
They got like a green one was the one I had lately with mango chunks and coconut flakes and granola, and then this like thick smoothie type base of spinach. It was amazing. I've never had a bowl like this that was like, I need to come back here.
Wow.
So good.
Maybe I'll
You've
go
been,
after
Justine?
this.
What's your favorite? Do you have a
Yes,
favorite thing?
I love Pliable. I don't remember what the one I get, but I started making Pliable at home because it was kind of expensive. So I was started blending my own smoothies and doing it. But yeah, it's refreshing. I'm like, and I like it because I'm like a savory breakfast person. But like it's like filling and delicious still. Like it's a good breakfast.
Yeah.
Poke bowl or acai bowl?
I'm savory. I'll go poke.
I don't know. I mean, Pliables is kind of my thing right now. I'm going that way. Yeah. Poke bowl, fine.
See if they'll throw
Also
some
good.
raw fish into the Pliable and it could be a little both.
Wow. Blowing my mind.
Terrible idea.
Elliot, your win.
My win I actually got from the CityCast newsletter this week, which was the little lion live stream at the zoo. I love an animal live stream.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is, but like when Fat Bear Week comes and you can like watch the bears pounding salmon in the stream, like that's my favorite thing to have up while I'm working. So when you guys posted or included it in the newsletter earlier this week, I just like put it up on my other screen and just felt slightly soothed by the baby.
Yeah,
I think it was lions.
Little baby lions and like a mama lion and top down. It's pretty cute.
Really cute and sweet.
It's pretty cute.
Denver,
go on.
Oh, is that Denver Zoo News is like my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got into the eagle cam a couple years ago, the Stanley Lake one.
I saw an eagle at Stanley Lake on Sunday.
Hey, maybe you saw one of the ones.
I saw an eagle at Sloan's Lake recently.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few at Sloan's.
Pretty neat.
Eagles everywhere.
How about
Animals among us.
They're out there. Justine, your win?
So my win of the week, animals, continues. There was an emu. He was an emu. An emu.
Lots of
escaped.
eyeliner and dyed black hair.
Simple plan.
He was wanted to get away from his parents for a little while. So the emu escaped from its home near Lakewood and was playing in the street on Colfax and Quail Monday. And I saw this unfolding on social media, but I got an update yesterday that they had got the bird that same day and he was back safely at home. But the best part, like, yes, we're happy he's home, but were the pictures from Lakewood PD, and they had like a blanket around it, like it was a victim they found, like putting in the car.
Was it like an emergency blanket?
Yeah,
like
it was just hilarious, and I laughed so hard. And yes,
no
they
joke,
said
this was almost my win.
It was an amusing situation.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good pun. I think we have to stop the show now after that, unfortunately. unfortunately. But it has been a great one. It's been really fun. Nice talking to you two. Elliot, Justine, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Olivia Jewell-Love, Francisco Kilgore, and me, Paul Caroli. We recorded this episode at the Dude IDK Studios in 5 Points. Peyton Garcia writes our morning newsletter, where you can find more great animal news like that lion cam. Abby Madigan runs our social media. Bree Davies is our host, and we'll return soon. Our music is by Los Mocochetes, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at CityCast Denver, and tell an emu wrangler about us next time you see him. Thanks to all our new neighbors. If you want to join and come to that member meetup I was talking about at the excellent Schoolyard Beer Garden, you can sign up now to support the show and get great perks. Become a CityCast Denver neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. You can sign up for our newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next time, everyone. Thank you. Wow. My God.
Good job.
Thanks. I felt
That's
like
a lot of words.
Today.